Today we will do the chapter of financial management. Finance is divided into two parts. One is financial management and second chapter is business finance. Financial management has three aspects. First is financing, second is investment and third is dividend. If you can remember it like that, FDI, financing, investment and dividend. Now sometimes they ask you the question, what is the objective of financial management? Its answer is approximately same, but we give in a different way. That is, we can remember AUGR. A for arrangement of finance, U for utilization of finance and G for growth of finance and R for reserves and reinvestment. This you have to explain when they ask you what is the objective of financial management. When I have studied the topics, so I have told you, whenever you want to remember any chapter, always learn a mind map concept which is given in the Google and all the places. What is mind map concept? Link the chapter in such a way like the human body. Now I am explaining you the whole chapter of how it is correlated, all the points are correlated. In business finance, financial management is divided into two parts. One is financing decision, second is investment decision and third is dividend decision. Now first is financing decision. Financing decision is divided into two parts. First part is capital structure, second part is financial planning. So in what is financial structure, capital structure? It is debt equity. So one question they ask you, what are the factors which will affect capital structure? Other is financial planning, which we will cover in the next slides. And when they ask you what is financial planning, so it is basically estimate and sources of funds, long term and short term. Along with it, effective use of funds. So next is investment decision. Investment decision is divided into two parts, long term investment and other is short term investment. The two question will be covered. Factor affecting long term requirement of the funds, factor affecting short term requirement of the funds. Then in long term again it is divided into two parts. One is factor affecting long term funds and other is factor affecting capital budgeting. Now it is a problem that people are not able to understand difference between factor affecting fixed capital and factor affecting capital budgeting. The difference is that when we talk about long term requirement fixed capital, so it cover every asset, fixed asset. But when we talk about capital budgeting, so we talk only about productive assets, the assets which are long term revenue generating assets. Now there is an important question in capital budgeting. If we go for purchase of an producing asset, so we have to compare it with what is the cost of fixed capital which we will invest in the fixed asset. That is called as capital budgeting decision. And next is last topic, dividend decision. A question is coming, what are the factors which will affect dividend decision? As you can see on the slide, this is the whole thing which I have explained on the background. So now I am coming to a question which is called as what are the function of financial management. So when they ask you what is the function of financial management, definitely word function will be given. So I have made a technique in which I have related function word with the answer. Function F stands for funds control and U stands for utilization of fund, and then there is a word C. C means cash requirements and capital requirements. S stands for surplus and sources of funds. This is the answer of what is the function of financial management. Now I am coming to the next topic, that is what is financial planning. Financial planning cover short term decision and long term decision. Now a very important question coming in the examination each year, factor affecting choice of capital structure. To remember it, it is very simple. As you can see on the board, I have divided the whole thing into two parts. You know, when I talk about factor affecting capital structure, so definitely I am talking about long term funds and long term use of funds. Long term use of fund means the asset side and long term fund means liability side. So what I have done to, as you know, balance sheet you all remember. So what I have done, I have divided on the liability side, I have written debt, then I have written equity, then I have written government bond, then it is written interest outstanding and tax outstanding. On the asset side, I have written investments and cash flow, and there is a line in between, that is which I have written flexible. The line in between is flexible. Now when they ask you factor affecting capital structure, so there are 13 points you can remember by linking method. As you already know balance sheet, now I am coming. First point is debt. With debt I have related 3 points: cost of debt, coverage of debt and risk of debt. And equity, I have covered 3 points: cost of equity, control of equity and market conditions. Then I have written government bonds. Government bond is also one of the factor. If government give you bond, then it is better for the company, because government only issue bonds when government feel that this work will be beneficial to the society. Then I have written interest on this outstanding. The point is rate of interest. Then I have written tax outstanding. So, but you have to remember, you have to write rate of tax. Then there is a line, means flexible, means flexibility you require. And on the right side I have written investment, that is return on investments or return on investment in other company assets or in shares or stocks. The last point is cash flow. These are the 13 factors which will affect choice of capital structure. Now I am coming to the next point. Question is asked, factor affecting fixed capital. So it is a very simple technique. 8 factors can be remembered in that way. Money is either invested in business or in technology. As you can see, I made north, south, east, west. In between I have written business, and below I have written technology. So how you can remember? On the north side, business written in between, N for nature, N for north, N for nature. The S for scale, S for south, S for scale. But I have written scale on the left side. On the west side, it means I have done mistake. So the student will go for group discussion. Sir don't know where to write south scale. So group discussion means GD. G means growth, D for diversification. Now all 4 points can be remembered: business, nature of business, scale of business, growth of business and diversification of business. Then there are 4 points related to technology. Technology consists of 8 words, 9 words, but they are TECH. T for techniques of production. For E, financial alternative. C for third word stand for collaboration. And there is the word H. H stands for high technology or upgradation. I have related first 4 words with the 4 points. Techniques of T for techniques of production, E for financial alternative, C for collaboration, H for upgradation. So in this way you can remember all the 8 points, factor affecting fixed capital. Now question is coming in the examination, factor affecting working capital. As you can see on the back, basically 4 points are same, which I have covered in long term capital and fixed capital and working capital. 4 points are same: nature of business, scale of business, growth of business and diversification of business. Now you have to remember other point. To remember other point, as you know, it is working capital. Working capital constitutes current assets and current liabilities. I have made a balance sheet. On the left side I have written, on the liability side I have written creditors. Then I have written competition level. Competition is a liability. If there are no competitors, there is no liability. The next point is inflation. Inflation is again a point. Inflation is increasing, we require more money for the working capital. Then I have written on the asset side stock. Stock means stock, there are 3 points related to the stock: availability of stock, seasonal stock, production cycle. Then I have written debtors. Debtor, 2 points related with the debtors: how much credit we allow them and with what efficiency we get the money back. These are all the points can be remembered by this linking method. There are 13 points, all can be remembered by remembering small balance sheet and 4 points which we have already covered. Now the next point is factor affecting dividend decision. First we will take factor affecting dividend decision. What is factor affecting dividend decision? To remember it, you have already covered income statement in your class 11th and class 12th. All of you know income statement. It is so simple. From gross sales we deduct cost, we get profits. From profit we deduct interest, we get profit after interest. You can see on the back side interest, profit after interest. Then you deduct tax, you get profit after tax. Then you deduct reserves, you get dividend. So now these points should be related with the dividend decision. I have written sales, I have related with the cash flow. You can see sale I have related on the cash flow. You have to explain the point on the left side. Right side are linking method, linking we are using. So dividend decision, cash flow means sale from, where from cash flow comes? Sales. So I have linked them. Then there is word written cost. With the cost I have written contractual constraints. Then there is written profit. With the profit I related stability of profits. Then there is written interest. And with interest I have written legal constraints. If interest is not paid, you are in legal trouble, legal constraints. Then written tax. I related the point tax with the tax policy of the government. And then there is written profit after tax. Profit after tax can be used for growth opportunities. So I have linked profit after tax with the growth opportunities. Then written reserves. Reserves is to be distributed or not is a shareholder decision and also depend upon stock market reaction. Then there is a written word dividend. So stability of dividend is also one of the factors which affect dividend decision. Now I am coming, last point I am coming, what is capital budgeting? They ask you sometime what are the factors which will affect capital budgeting. As I have explained you, what is the meaning of capital budgeting? Long term decision to invest in income generating assets. What are income generating assets? If I have a tour and travel company and I want to raise my level of income, so where should I invest? Should I invest in the building or I invest in the cars? Definitely in the cars. So if I finance the car, so I have to pay interest. I have to see the revenue generated by the car is more than the rate of interest I have to pay, then I will go for decision to purchase the cars. That is called as capital budgeting decision. Now there is a question asked, what are the factors which will affect capital budgeting decision? So I have written there are simple points. First is cash flow. If with what speed we will get cash back. Second is risk involved or the cost involved. Third is what is the rate of return. And fourth is what is investment criteria. These are the 4 points written on the back side, factor affecting capital budgeting decision. Now question arises why it is important. Again I have used a memory technique in which I have made a graph. On one side I have written risk, on the base I have written funds. First risk is there, second funds are required. And then I have written growth. If growth is only possible if we go for increasing in producing assets. And fourth point is decision is irreversible. That can be easily remembered with the graph. This is the chapter you can learn by this way. You have to read the book and you learn this from this point and you can repeat the things. Thank you.